Hi everybody. This is kind of heartbreaking. You know, we've been doing this for way too long. I remember the first Iraq war back in the early 90s, and the second Iraq war. This just goes on and on and on and on. You know, we're talking about 60 years of military intervention in the Middle East. Started in the early 1950s when the CIA overthrew democratically elected government in Iran. The government of Mohammad Mossadegh. CIA overthrew him, installed the Shah of Iran, and carried out 25 years of brutal dictatorship, persecution of the Iranian people, to be replaced by the current regime of the mullahs. Gave the radical right an opportunity, created a doorway for radical elements in that society to take control of government and power. So you look at 60 years of military intervention across the region, in Lebanon and Iraq, 2-3 times, Kuwait, Bahrain, subversion of democracy, support of dictators, the support of authoritarian regimes, repressive regimes, repressive governments that are denying the people of the Middle East, the ordinary people of the Middle East, people like you and me, you and you, families with elders, families with children, their basic human rights, their basic rights to a life of dignity. We have been supporting the repression of the people of the Middle East for 60 years now. 60 years. So you begin to question. I mean, I'm turning into a cynic. I always had in my heart, I valued and still do human goodness. That human beings basically deep down are good people. I know all of you. I know all of you. I know all of you are. But basically, made in God's image. We have been given that in our hearts by the Creator. Things like kindness and compassion, love. These things come naturally to us. We show that to our family members, to our friends. It's natural. But I'm becoming a little bit cynical now because I just can't seem to follow the narrative that the left has been offering all these years, that the policies that we are looking at in the Middle East are just basically failed policies. That this is just a bad idea. 60 years of bad ideas. Why? I mean, you know, this document is great. 13 years of current wars have failed. Well, 60 years of wars in the Middle East have brought us to where we are today. Right? These are all failed policies. If there were goals and objectives of this war, the Veterans for Peace document says they have not been met. But they have been met for somebody. Somebody's objectives have been met. Somebody is profiting from this stuff. Let me give you some names. I mean, this is really annoying. It really pisses me off that we have on Fox News people like Jack King, General Jack King. We have General Anthony Zinni. We have Fran Townsend, who was an advisor to George W. Bush. We have General James Mattis calling for war, another war in the Middle East, telling Americans that this war is needed, is justified. Keane is calling for massive involvement of U.S. airstrikes and ramping up of U.S. military power, again in the Middle East. Zinni is asking for 10,000 troops on the ground right now. Right? What they failed to tell us on Fox News is that Jack Keane is on the board of Academy. Y'all know who Academy is? It's the former Blackwater. He sits on the advisory board of the former Blackwater. He's also sitting on the board of General Dynamics, which manufactures tanks and aircraft.
And drones.
They don't tell us that on Fox News. They tell us these are military analysts. General Zinni is on the board of BAE Systems out of England, which is also an aerospace and arms manufacturer. Fran Townsend serves on a committee on a defense investment conglomerate of some sort that benefits from the money that defense contractors and defense companies make. She serves on as an advisor to these kind of corporations. And these people get on our media, on Fox Media, on Fox News, and they tell the American people that this war is justified. So, you know, goals and objectives of the 60-year war have not been met. I disagree. It's being met. Before this, we had Dick Cheney, who profited from his association with Halliburton and other defense contractors. Right? So it's the cynic in me that's coming out is saying that all of this is really, really well thought out. I mean, this is exactly. These are not failed policies. These are not failed policies. They have thought this path through. I mean, what happened to the pivot that Obama was telling about? He's going to pivot out of the Middle East. You're going to leave the Middle East and concentrate on the Pacific Rim nations. You're getting out of the Middle East. It's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie. The U.S. is more and more engaged militarily more engaged in the Middle East than it has ever been. And that is the objective. That is the cynical objective, in my opinion, now, that this is what the plan is. To keep that region in turmoil. From Lebanon to Syria to Iraq to Afghanistan, keep the entire region in turmoil. So we have a chance, we have an opportunity, we have an excuse to remain in that region, to continue to fire the flames of war and hatred, and so that certain industries, certain individuals in the U.S., certain factions of American society and Western society continue to benefit. I mean, I'm sorry. I never thought I'd get to this point, but it is not failed policies anymore to me. And I'm just tired. I'm brokenhearted. I'm tired. I mean, we have killed so many Middle Easterners. It's sad. Danna was reminding me of the time we were protesting the sanctions against Iraq back in the 1990s. You know, Veterans for Peace, I served on their Iraq Water Project Board, rebuilt 2 water plants in Fallujah in the 1990s. In the late 1990s, rebuilt 2 water plants near Fallujah. Yeah. And 4 others throughout Iraq that were destroyed by the U.S. military after the invasion. 500,000 children died in Iraq in the 1990s because of the U.S. sanctions. Children under the age of 5. That's just one age group. One age group, 500,000 children. You can think about the elderly, those who were sick in hospital. The war. What are the casualties? What is the human cost of war for the Iraqi people, right? This is what the scientists say. Iraq, how many lives? We don't even account. We don't even know how many. There are some estimates. 600,000, 1 million, 200,000. Countless Iraqi lives. What is the cost of lives in Syria? The cost of lives to all the people of that region. It's an insanity. I mean, that's all we can say, right? It's just insane, insanity. And I appreciate you all coming out and standing witness to yet another misguided, ill-advised. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. So thank you very much for taking a stand and speaking out. You are a special group of people in my mind. You have the courage to do this. And I've been around people like you, a lot of people like you for the last 20 years. I remember when Afghanistan was being bombed, we were at the Kennedy Memorial. There was 20 people that showed up, just like a small group. There was probably 20 newspaper people, and there was probably 50 or 60 or 100 counter-protesters that came out with the American flag. Some of them were dressed in the American flag. And this is the height of, I guess, patriotism, when you wear the clothes or you turn your flag into a piece of clothing to show your patriotism. So I appreciate you all very much, so I want to say, and I want to thank Leslie for organizing this and coming out here and standing and speaking truth to power. Thanks.
Thank you.